Morning. So today we're doing a special project, and what I'm doing is I'm in Champaign, Illinois, and on Madison Avenue to be precise, for those of you who want more precision. And I'm about to drive from Champaign, Illinois to Jacksonville, Florida. Filling my tank up with gas right now. Nothing special about filling my tank up or driving there. It's a long ass drive. It's 1,000 miles. But here's what the special part. I'm in 2012 Ford Focus. This is my personal vehicle, and I'm going to attempt to drive that trip on 2 tanks of gas. So I'm gonna fill up. Well, I just filled up now, and then filled up now, and my next fill up hopefully will be at my halfway point. And I'm attempting to drive 1,000 miles on 2 tanks of gas. That would mean that each tank of gas is gonna have to return me 500 miles. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'll switch the camera around. Okay, so what I'm doing is I reset my fuel mileage and my trip odometer and my hours, which I just reset that, so it's a minute. And the objective is I'm gonna drive 1,000 miles, just filling up one more time. So right now I got a full tank of gas, and hopefully that'll last me for about 500 miles, and then my second tank of gas is gonna do the same. So I'll be able to get from Champaign, Illinois to Jacksonville, Florida on 2 tanks of gas. So we'll see how that works out. Okay, hopefully I don't have any mechanical problems or any gridlock traffic anywhere along the way. You know, usually if it's raining like it is now, it's kind of bad weather, there tends to be accidents and holdups and stuff, and that'll kill my gas mileage. But yeah, we'll hope for the best. We'll see what happens. So 12.2 gallons. That's actually pretty impressive considering this car only holds 12 gallons. So, real quick. Alright, so here's where we are. We are in a place I think it's called Montego, something like that, in Tennessee. And so I used 12.2 gallons out of a 12-gallon tank, so I'm really impressed with that. I drove 463 miles, averaging 40.4 miles per gallon. Distance to years, and I've driven 7 miles so far. So that's 7 hours. So that's right at about 67 miles per hour. So I'm not driving super slow, but I am getting amazing gas mileage. My gas mileage is over 40 miles to gallon, which this car is only rated at, I think it's 38 on the highway or something like that. So I'm definitely happy with that. But we're at the halfway point. Halfway point meaning that I've used up my first tank of gas, and this is my second fill up. The problem is that I think I'm going to be a little bit short by like 40 miles. So we'll see how close I can get to Jacksonville, but it's not looking very promising. Chances are pretty high that I will not make it that far. I'm going to have to stop and get gas. Definitely in Florida, but may not make it all the way. So I'm going to grab something to eat and hit the road again. Okay, so we are in Jacksonville. I made it, and I'm going to show you guys the numbers real quick while I'm at this intersection, because I'm going home and go to sleep. So real quick to let you guys to summarize. So 41.3 miles per gallon. So it improved by 1 mile per gallon since my one fill up. 14 miles to empty. I'm pretty sure it's less than that. Trip timer 15 hours 7 minutes and 972 miles. So 65 miles an hour average, maybe 64. I don't know. I'll recap tomorrow when I wake up and give you guys the hard numbers. But the point is, I made it from Champaign, Illinois, all the way to Jacksonville, Florida. I'm on the corner of Normandy and Lane, to be a little more precise. and I did it on 2 tanks of fuel. So in the morning I'm going to fill the tank up to find out more precisely how much gas I used, and then I'll crunch the numbers and make a short video to summarize what happened on this trip. Okay, so I'm sitting in traffic, so I may as well make this video. This is basically the summary of this video. What I did was I drove from Champaign, Illinois, and I drove on a highway all the way, pretty much non-stop, from there to Jacksonville, Florida. It was 960 miles total, and it took me around 15 hours. Basically, I was averaging about 65 miles per hour, and that's because the stops are included. You know, I pulled off the highway to go get gas, and then I stopped a couple times to use the bathroom. I've been chugging that water, especially in the early part of the trip. Also, I was stuck in Atlanta traffic for almost an hour. It wasn't so bad. It could be a lot worse, you know, but it was 5:30 in the evening. I had to drive through Atlanta, and so I had to deal with that. So that, you know, it killed my gas mileage a little bit, but not really, you know, in the grand scheme of things. And it also cut down my miles per hour average a little bit, because, you know, for over half hour, close to an hour, I was doing 10, maybe 20 miles an hour, you know, if that. But overall, great results. I was able to drive from Champaign and get just to the halfway point. On 1 tank of gas, I used over 12 gallons, which is amazing, because as far as I know, this car only holds 12 gallons. I've never pushed it past maybe the 11 and a half gallon mark. So, you know, real close to being stuck on the side of the highway, but I made it. And then the rest of the trip, I drove the rest of the way home, and I was just so tired that I didn't even care about anything. I went home and went to sleep. Next morning, first thing I did was went to the gas station, and I ended up putting 11.5 gallons. So it was 11.5 gallons on the first stop, plus 12.2 gallons, which equals 23.7 gallons. So I used 23.7 gallons to drive 960 miles, averaging just over 40 miles to the gallon, 41 miles to the gallon, around there. So Ford Focus SE 2012 with a 5-speed manual, not the dual clutch. It's an actual manual transmission. It's a 5-speed, and you know, the gas mileage on this is great. It was rated at less, and I'm sure that I would have got the rated amount of about 38 miles to the gallon if I used cruise control, but I did not. I used my foot the whole way, and you know, it just takes being a little bit patient. What I did is I stay right at 70 miles an hour on the highway. And so a few things that I do is, one of them, I always make sure I give the car in front of me adequate room, so that if they start slowing down, I don't have to hit my brakes, because that kills your gas mileage. When you have to hit the brakes and you bleed off speed, you're not regaining that energy. So I give them enough room that if they start slowing down, I can just ease off my gas pedal and let my car slow down to their speed, and then I maintain speed with them. So letting the car coast down to speed is a lot more efficient than actually having to brake and slow down, especially if you end up slowing down to slower than the car in front of you, and then now you have to regain that speed using more energy. Another thing is, the roads are fairly flat, but not really flat, especially going through Chattanooga. And what I do is, when I'm going up a hill, I would keep my foot exactly where it is on the gas pedal and let the car lose speed until it drops down to about 65 miles per hour, at which point I will just add throttle slowly until I'm able to maintain that 65 miles per hour. Sometimes I'll let it get as low as 63, depending on the grade of the incline. And then what happens is, once I get up to the top of the hill and I get up to level ground again, I will keep my foot right where it was to maintain that 65, because keep in mind I'm actually using more power to go up a hill, and I would let the car accelerate back up to 70 miles an hour, and then I would ease off of the gas pedal to maintain that speed. Also, the same thing going down a hill. If I'm going down a hill, what I would do is I would ease off the pedal just a little bit, and I would let the car get all the way up to about 75 sometimes. I know I'm kind of breaking the speed limit, but I would let it get that extra momentum using less fuel. And so what happens is you get a little more speed for a little less gas, and so that helps your gas mileage. So it kind of averages itself out. And then when I get back to level ground, then of course the car will want to slow down because I'm not using as much power, and so I just ease back onto the accelerator to get back to my 70 miles an hour, let the car slow down to 70, and then maintain that speed. And that's what I do. And with doing that, practicing that on the highway, you will always get better gas mileage than the cruise control, because cruise control is very aggressive as far as maintaining your speed. Like if you have an automatic transmission car and you start going up an incline, that cruise control will kick down, and it'll flat foot the accelerator just to maintain your set speed. Whereas if you use your foot, you're a little more lenient and you can let the car slow down, and that helps your gas mileage a lot. Same thing going downhill. So yeah, the thing is, cruise control is great if you think you're going to end up speeding and getting a speeding ticket. But if you're like me, where you're looking at your speedo like every 30 seconds, it's not that big a deal. And if you want to improve your gas mileage, you can always beat the cruise control fuel mileage if you do the technique that I did. Also, what else do I do? The car is stock. I mean, I haven't done anything to it. There's none of those little magic doodads that say they increase your gas mileage. I don't believe in that stuff. I think the only way to really increase your gas mileage will be to make the car run more efficiently. I do have my tires overpressured just a little bit. I run 40 psi in the front, and I run 35 in the backs, for not just for fuel mileage, but because it makes the car handle a little more crisp. It makes the car handle the way I like my car to handle. It makes the ride just a little bit more harsh, but for me it's a fair trade-off. Also, there's no penalty as far as tire wear by running 40 psi. I ran 40 psi and gone all the way through my tires till they were, down to the thread wear limit, and it was nice even thread wear. There was no kind of penalty as far as the tire balding in the center or anything like that. I think maybe if I went up to 50 psi, I don't know that I'd want to do that. But if I did that, then you would start to see uneven thread wear, and you would start to have problems with the tire wearing unevenly, or behaving erratic. But at 40 psi, and I mean not just this car, I've been doing this for literally decades, to where I run 40 psi in my car, and I've had zero problems with my tires doing that. So that's the only thing that I really do that might improve fuel mileage. I don't do it specifically for fuel mileage. I do it because I like the way the car handles with a little bit harder tires. I guess if I had low profile tires, I wouldn't be as inclined to do it, because the car would handle the same way. But yeah, that's what I did, and I was able to drive the entire trip with stopping one time for gas, halfway point, and then I made it the whole rest of the way. 960 miles in a Ford Focus 2-liter SE. It's a flex fuel, but I didn't use any flex fuel. That kills your gas mileage. So, just regular 87 pump gas. Okay?